It's time to break the bonds of planetary slavery that have been cast upon us. Let's talk about where we are now and what to do next. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. I want to help you understand the alien force that has been at work on this planet. Let's talk about how they see us and how they manipulate our evolution. It's no secret that humanity is in a dire situation right now. So how did we get here? Let me share with you our number one biggest failing point. It's imperative that we correct this failing point right now, so we have whatever chance is left to do something about our larger situation. We have some very evil people and entities who want to enslave us further and transition our natural human species into a synthetic AI species. And they are working overtime to make this happen. So I think the big question on a lot of people's minds is, why didn't we stop this early on when we had a chance? How is it that we failed to do that? Well, we didn't stop it because we couldn't see it. Not seeing it has been our biggest failing point all along. And if we continue to not see it, then we will be done as a naturally evolving species. Not seeing it has been our greatest weakness. Now, one of the things that I try and help you guys do is to have context for everything that's going on. We need to start by centering ourselves in a solid context of natural evolution. This means that we need to get deeply in touch with our natural selves as we were originally designed. We were designed as heart-centered creators who are deeply connected to the natural earth and to the universe as a whole. The only way to truly understand what has happened to us is to fully embrace ourselves as who we really are and as how we were designed to be. We need to be fully anchored in that reality because that's what also anchors our consciousness into the wider natural universe. The wider universe is our field of natural evolution and ascension. So let's take that truth as our baseline of understanding about what is right and what isn't. From here, I want to show you how an alien intelligence looks at us, so that way we can break the bonds of our unfortunate human slavery. I want to help you understand the alien force that has been at work on this planet. That way you can know how they see us and how they manipulate our evolution. Now, we have actually had a mental spell cast upon us collectively. So let's break that spell now and witness for ourselves how these aliens have been planning our species transition into AI for a very long time. I want to share with you the 12 steps of species transition that they have been using on us. Try to stay anchored in your true sense of a natural self as you observe each one of these steps. Many of these steps overlap, so they're not always in consecutive order. Step 1 is to break up the biological family. This step started well over 100 years ago. Now, I'm going to give you the simplest, fast version of exactly how they sequenced this step. First, you remove men from the family by sending them to work away from the family in ways that have nothing to do with the actual family itself. Next, you begin the removal of children by sending them to compulsory government schools. Then it's important to break women's breastfeeding bonds with their babies by inventing formula in a can. You tell women that breastfeeding is bad for their kids, and canned formula is a whole lot healthier. And that's what they used to say in the old days before the internet and people could figure out that that was completely bogus, right? Once you convince women to accept that idea, they're perfectly set up to accept what you have planned for them later on down the road. So now that you have gotten women away from breastfeeding, you are ready to start the feminist movement. And that essentially says that women should also have the privilege of going to work just like men. Now, I'm not trying to say that women should not work. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to share with you this particular piece in the controller's much larger plan. Now, the next part of step 1 is you proceed to manipulate the money system so that now both parents will have to go to work in order to support the family. You increase working hours and the cost of living to keep parents exhausted and away from home as much as possible. And you make especially sure to tell women that being a mother at home is stupid and makes them basically worthless. And now the stage is set for you to get the kids. Now school can become a surrogate parent because now parents realize that they need the school to babysit while they are at work. You institute daycare for babies and young children so mothers can keep working. And you encourage parents to farm their kids out to organized activities to keep them really busy all the time. You want these kids away from home as much as possible. But you're not done yet. No siree. Transitioning a species requires a widespread, comprehensive formula. So by now you've hopefully done a great job at alienating everyone in the family as much as possible. So now it's time to get these kids once and for all. You want them to basically hate their parents. And you want parents to mostly see their kids as a pain in their neck because the kids just get in the way of their ability to work. And this will work great later on because the last thing you want is for people to rely on the wisdom of their elders who remember life before you, the aliens, royally screwed it up. Instead, you want these kids to eventually put their parents into government-run homes. You want the kids to do to their parents exactly what the parents did to them when they couldn't take care of themselves either. See, I told you these controllers always like to get a double bang for their buck. Anyway, now everyone is perfectly positioned for the final break of the family. So here's what you do next. You tell kids that it's cool to go to college or university as far away from their parents as possible. You tell them to go far, far away. Go to the other side of the continent if you can. And crossing the ocean is even better. You tell the kids that the closer their school is to their parents, the dumber that kid will look. See, the coolness factor declines the closer you are to your parents' residence. But see, you have to work on the parents too, because they're going to pay for a big chunk of that college experience. And the last thing you want is for them to have any say whatsoever in what they just bought for tens of thousands of dollars. So here's how you handle that problem. In case there are still some unruly parents who still want to maintain a connection with their children, well, you just ridicule them as being helicopter parents, kind of like this. Basically, your goal is to make parents look stupid if they want to come anywhere near their kid. You want to make them think that if they react to anything that is their basic human nature, well, then that means there's just something wrong with them. See, the best parents of all are the ones who say good riddance to the kid. That's exactly what you want to accomplish, because you have much bigger plans ahead for everyone. So step 1 was the longest step that I wanted to share with you. It's longer because it basically sets the foundation for the rest of the 12 steps, the remaining 11 steps, which are actually a bit shorter. Now, step 2 basically overlaps step 1. Step 2 is critical to your success. In step 2, you engineer kids' minds with a cookie-cutter formula for a life of slavery. Here's what the formula looks like. You tell them to go to endless school and get a whole bunch of degrees. Then you tell them to get a job. After that, it's time to get married and reproduce so you can produce more workers. You tell them to keep working until their body breaks down. And finally, after all that, you tell them it's time to retire and die. Kind of like an old car that doesn't run anymore. It's basically kind of useless. Now, this formula is not very attractive on its own, so here's what you do about that. You sprinkle this formula with holidays, vacations, and entertainment to make it more palatable and keep everyone going. Next, you add in TV and movies to get people mentally and emotionally connected to screens, because it's very important that you always plan ahead. Okay, now you have built a basically functional slave system that is perfectly designed for your future plans of species transition. And now you are ready for step number 3. Step number 3 is where you build the AI infrastructure surrounding the planet. You very cleverly call it the World Wide Web or the Internet because it's specifically designed to trap everyone. You just pretend that it's really just for things like news and convenience. Now, step number 4 overlaps step number 3. Step 4 is where you push the slave system to maximum stress levels. Then, when people can't handle it, you tell them this means that there is something wrong with them. You treat it like a mental disorder, see? You make sure that you have officials lined up to give them drugs and therapy to help them cope. Next, you quickly move into step number 5. Now that you have the adults believing in drugs as a solution, you can essentially get them to do the very same thing for their kids. You have thus created a great opportunity to give behavior control drugs to kids who are basically running around being active and acting kind of normal. See, no one has time for that anymore. So you tell everyone to take these drugs because that's the answer to all of their problems that they no longer have the time or the energy to solve. It's so amazing. It's so easy. Now you're ready to press that accelerator onto step number 6. You give people this newfangled device called a cell phone. That's a phone with no wires attached. People will definitely be amazed by this. Next, you add little buttons to the phone that they can press to type messages to each other. You teach them to text instead of call, so you can further break their human bonds with each other. Now, this also has the added benefit of helping to increase anxiety levels when text responses don't happen fast enough, which is great because it increases people's addiction to using the phone. Voila, another success. Isn't life grand when you are an alien extraterrestrial? Now we have a big jump when it comes to step number 7. This marks a major turning point with your plan. You blend computers with a phone and you call it a smartphone. You get people addicted to the word smart as being positive and cool when the word is connected to any type of device or object. Well, the truth is that the only one the word smart applies to is you, because you're the one who's cleverly enacting this plan, see? Anyway, what the people don't really know is that what smart really means is artificial intelligence. And now we are accelerating onto step number 8. This is where you build up the entire planetary system so that all information and communication happens through these phones. And of course, you are smart enough to add video because that helps to reduce the anxiety of the human disconnect that you are so brilliantly fostering. Okay, now you're ready to go speeding into step number 9. This is a big one. You create something called social media to get people away from socializing physically. You teach them to socialize on the internet instead of in person. You tell them it's great because this way they can have more friends. A whole bunch more friends. Way more friends than they ever imagined was even possible. This is a big part of how you set the trap. This is how you finally get them to attach themselves to the web. You create these little icons called likes and followers to give them a good dopamine hit every time they get one of these things. This amplifies their addiction to communicating through the phone. It's so simple. And now we are quickly on to step number 10. This is where you improve all of these systems until you get most or all of society attached to the net. This is designed to force everyone to be online in order to communicate. Up next is step 11. Now you are really cruising fast. This is where you shift all remaining human activity onto the internet. This includes things like business, banking, shopping, communication, education, and entertainment, along with a bunch of other stuff that no one sees. And now you are definitely ready to get a Species Transition Award because you have succeeded in making the internet the new AI nervous system that underpins all human activity. And finally, we are at step 12, where the setup is complete. Now you are ready for phase 2 of your major planetary takeover in, let's say, 2020. And if you want the details for that, just check out this video right here, which I will link down below. But for now, let me just give you a quick synopsis of what is included in step number 12. Now it's time for you to get seriously aggressive before the people even know what hit them. It's always a good idea to catch people by surprise when you want to destroy their lives, right? I mean, that's just common sense. In step number 12, you want to achieve a massive and sudden breakage of any remaining human bonds. You also want to bring an end to any natural human sexuality by removing any acknowledged existence of men and women. Most importantly, step 12 is when you finally let the demons out of their cages to help you out. You let them run amok, kind of like a whole bunch of hungry bats. And then, of course, you have to get Satan, who is one of the best minions, to get these demons to line up with your plan. Your goal at this point is to bring everyone to the lowest possible vibration using evil minions and lots of darkness. Now, you're not just doing this for fun and entertainment. The idea is to create lots of depression and despair, to kill off any human creativity and motivation. Because that inspirational stuff can really mess up your goals, see? Okay. So that is a quick summary of how an alien intelligence sees us and manipulates our evolution. So why am I telling you this? It's because we need to break the spell and understand that we are experiencing a literal alien takeover of this planet. This is not normal human activity. This is not evolution. And all of the people who think they are in power right now, they are all just minions of this larger alien force. These people were the first ones to get under control, and that was easy because they're already corrupt. Now you are an infinite being and an evolving creator in this universe. It is extremely important for us to have a real perspective on this situation that we are in the middle of right now. This is a planet that is being taken over by AI. Human evolution is being shut down in favor of AI's growing ability to evolve instead. And this is actually the sole reason that Telstar came to this planet. It's to help people understand and be able to deal with this situation so that the humans on this planet can continue to evolve. Telstar has literally been warning about this for 30 years, you guys. And now it's actually all coming to pass exactly as they described. So there are two possibilities right now. One is that enough people wake up and actually see the ruse. The other one is that people don't wake up at a sufficient level to put a stop to this alien takeover. In which case, it will be up to individuals to help themselves and to save themselves. The good news is that either one of those scenarios can work for any given individual. Remember that you always have the option to choose your timeline and choose your path. You have the option to be in charge of your own cosmic journey. The best way to ensure that result is to be perfectly clear about what is actually going on here. That way, you won't inadvertently let your consciousness be swept away into all of this treachery. Remember that I said our greatest weakness is to not see what these alien controllers are actually doing. Now we have the opportunity to actually see it. That is the key to being able to navigate around it. You wouldn't drive a car blindfolded because you know that would be dangerous. In the same way, we don't want to live this life blindfolded either. If we walk around blindfolded, the controllers can easily take us by the hand and usher us into oblivion. We won't even know what's happening until it's too late. So let's break the spell now and open our cosmic eyes. See, you have tremendous wisdom within you, but in order to exercise that wisdom, it's best to be fully awake. See, when you are fully awake, you can set your consciousness and your energy to a much higher level of being in this universe. And you can connect with assets that you didn't even know you had. If you think about everything that I've shared with you in this video, it's so easy to see how preposterous and ridiculous this is compared to who we are as natural human beings. It's kind of like unearthing the plan, unearthing their blueprint, putting it in the light, seeing it for what it is, and that in and of itself can wake you up in a massive way, which is what we really need. And the value in waking up in that way, to seeing, being able to see what is actually going on, the value in that is it's going to automatically shift your center back to your true self, back to your empowered self, back to who you are as a cosmic being in this universe, as an evolving creator in this universe. It's a whole lot easier that way. See, because if you don't see it, if you don't see what's really going on, it's much too easy to get confused. It's far too easy to have it like all mushed together. It's like one big reality, and you're supposed to try to figure out what's what, and you don't really know, and you're unsure. But when you see the distinction, when you're able to make the clear distinction between what is real, what is natural, what is in alignment with your actual true natural design as a human being, which automatically puts you in alignment with the larger empowered universe, you see that because you have, by seeing what the controllers, this alien intelligence, the AI, whatever you want to call it, by seeing what they're doing, seeing the plan, seeing how it's been orchestrated, watching how it's unfolded, observing it, you actually distance yourself from it and you come back to center and back to yourself again. That's where your power is. That's where you're connected to the cosmos, to the universe, which is what I think we all really want, right? So let's stay awake and aware and be fully inspired, because inspiration is our natural state of being. And when we no longer see all of that junk that I described in those 12 steps of species transition, when we recognize that that is not who we are, inspiration can flow very naturally through our being. Our empowered self can begin to radiate and express and manifest again, because we don't have all that junk mixed in with who we think we are. And also, remember that things like inspiration and creativity are the antidote to these controllers and their minions. And next week, I might have a message for you from Archangel Michael. I'll have to let you know about that in next week's video. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would find the 12 steps of species transition to be rather interesting. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, because I am here every Tuesday with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you loads of love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.